two, one. Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. My name is Nazar Sayed, and I am here with my co-host Bashar Sayed, who is currently not in the same country. He is in Chicago, and he's talking to us via the interwebs. Bashar, welcome back to your own podcast. You watched the game today. We're gonna go straight into it because we're limited on time and we're limited on battery space as well. So one of us went on a trip to Chicago, forgot their battery. Not gonna name names, but people know who it is. And let's just get into it, man. You watched the innings. It's just half an innings, 50 overs, Pakistan versus India. First game after 4 years. What were your initial thoughts?
Absolutely crazy. Just the excitement building up was insane. But first of all, I just love this podcast because it's because of this podcast that despite being so far away, we have an opportunity to connect, chat, and discuss this game that we love so much. So despite the traveling, despite not having the charger, whatever, we're here. We're talking about cricket. Just witnessed an India versus Pakistan ODI match after 4 years. We have to discuss about the dedication the overseas Pakistanis have, especially the ones living in North America, because the game started at 5:30 a.m. And I was traveling. I came to the hotel at 1 a.m. Took a quick power nap. Woke up 5 a.m. Found a good stream. Logged in, and I noticed Rohit Sharma won the toss. He batted first, and I was like, "Here we go. This is it." Shaheen Afridi's first over. It's become such a classic thing. It's become an event in world cricket. Shaheen's first over, and the first ball he bowled to Rohit Sharma, on point, in swinging Yorker. You could see that Rohit Sharma has worked on his technique. He was better prepared for the in swinging Yorker. That's exactly how Shaheen got him out in the 2021 T20 World Cup. It was a fast in swinging Yorker, and Rohit had no time to even react to that ball. So good to see Rohit was a bit tentative. Observed a few balls. It was moving in the air. The pitch had variable bounce. But man, Shaheen is Shaheen, bro. Like that was one of the best spells I've seen from Shaheen because fast bowling is an art, and Shaheen Afridi is the Picasso of this generation. Just the way he set up Rohit Sharma, such a smart bowler because a few of the balls he went initially were full straight. It was swinging a bit, but Rohit seemed pretty comfortable. He was managing it well, and then Shaheen pulled the length back. It was the setup that got me really emotional. The two balls that nipped away off the seam across the angle. People said it was almost an away swinger, so I'm not sure if Shaheen has learned the away swinger. But then that third ball that pitched off stump, nipped back, and knocked the peg over for Rohit. Just crazy since I was screaming in my hotel, and I was watching it with a couple of my friends who also stayed up, and it was just a spectacle to see. I don't care about how much sleep I missed or how tired I was. Just that spell for me from Shaheen made up for everything that was not happening in my way.
I mean, Kanye has a very famous quote on Ellen where he goes like, Picasso is dead, Steve Jobs is dead, and he's naming all these famous artists who have passed, and there are no longer famous artists among us. I would like to say that Shaheen Afridi is very, very much alive, and he is poetry in motion. The way that ball was singing, it was legitimately melodious. The way that the ball was bouncing away from the pitch, he had the whole orchestra in his control. The way that Shaheen Afridi was just sort of taking control of the game as he wanted to. It almost seemed like the Indian batters had no idea but to play the instruments that they were told to play. Uh, the beautiful example of that is now this is not Shaheen Afridi, but a good magician always has very, very handy, skillful crew alongside him. And Shaheen Afridi, being the magician that he is, had a hell of a talent, hell of a team with him, with Naseem Shah and Haris Rauf. And Shaheen Afridi will get all the praise that he deserves because he genuinely did something today that shook the world, not only the Indian cricket team, but the resonance of that was felt throughout the cricketing world. People were talking about this left and right. The 4 wickets that he took against India today will be remembered for a long, long time to come. I think he was short 1 wicket. I really wished that he took his fifth. He deserved it, rightfully so. But 4 for 35 is no small feat. But the second person that I wanted to quickly talk about was Haris Rauf. Now, Haris Rauf is a person who is pure aggression, right? If you look up aggression in the Oxford Dictionary, you will see Haris Rauf Maybe you'll see today's dismissal for Haris Rauf that he did for Ishan Kishan, right? That man
Even
is pure
Shubman
aggression.
Gill.
But sometimes Shubman Gill is. I was just coming to that. Sometimes you use your brains. The muscles are good, but if you don't know how to use it with your brains, they're just muscles, right? You're just a chiseled statue. Haris Rauf today was my man of the match. I'll tell you why. He went for runs. We've talked about this before. He goes for runs. That's fine for me, as long as he can give me the wickets when I need them. And today, when he got Shubman Gill out, the Prince of Indian batting, the Prince of India, Shubman Gill, out, bunnied, 31 balls, 11 runs. I was hearing some commentators, some pundits online, hashtag Sports Diary, talking about how settled he was in his crease. That was not a settled inning, my guy. That was a man just saving his life as much as he could without being embarrassed. 31 balls, 11 runs, and just a 151 clicker going through the gate, inside edge, middle stump bowled. It was like, I couldn't believe, like, this is how probably our parents felt, the generation before us felt when Babar and Wasim were bowling in the first 10, 15 overs. I didn't think that I'd ever go back to that era of just fast bowling eliteness. And here we are.
I think Shubman Gill, lots have been said about him in the world of cricket. Often Indian friends of mine, they compare him to Babar Azam, which I don't think it's fair at all. But today we saw that he was not able to take the pressure of an India versus Pakistan match. I've said this before. You can play all the IPL, you can play all the World Test Championship matches at home in India, but when it comes to an India versus Pakistan match, it's a different ball game. It's a different level of pressure. It's a different level of expectations, which a young player like Shubman Gill was not able to withstand. And we saw with how shaky he was. He wasn't getting his feet moving properly. Naseem Shah was squaring him up right, left, center. And finally, Haris Rauf with that ball that nipped back in, inside edge, bowled for Gill. And I think he's going to take a lot away from this innings. I don't blame him too much because he was up against an incredible fast bowling trio that Pakistan has, which arguably could be the best fast bowling trio in world cricket right now. With the swing they have, with the pace they have, with the movement they have, with the accuracy and aggression they have, I just think this is amazing. This is probably how like our parents' generation felt when they watched Wasim, Waqar, and Shoaib bowl in tandem.
Bro,
It's just
you
music.
just quoted me right back to me. That's hilarious.
It's like Hans Zimmer playing the Interstellar soundtrack. It's perfection. It's what I want to see. It's what I live for. And the spell from our pace bowlers today, that it was needed for my mental health. I needed that spell.
Yeah, I saw you post that on Backward Point's Instagram account. How that spell, those 10 wickets are exactly what you need for your mental health, and I will second that. Yeah, like you said, the match was at early morning, 5:30 a.m. That's when my alarm went off, and I go and I look at the score, and I think it had already been a couple of overs, and then I heard that it was going to rain, and now there's a whole other debate online going on about how this tournament is being orchestrated and how it's being executed, and how these matches could have been played in maybe a drier surface, even if it had to be in Sri Lanka. Najam City came out and talked about how he pitched the neutral venue to be UAE, but India said no. They said we have a World Cup coming. We don't want to injure our players, hot and humid conditions. Okay, but then you go out and into Sri Lanka and you choose the wettest place in Sri Lanka to play cricket in monsoon season. Um, I don't know. I had lots of thoughts about that, but at the end of the day, I just felt like it was a little bit of cowardice from the BCCI, a little bit of cowardice from Jay Shah or Jay Shetty. I forget his name. Jay Shah, yeah. He was at the game today and he looked very sheepish, if I'm being honest. Maybe that's just the way he is, but he just looked very awkward to me. And as soon as the first innings went over, and before the players were even out of the game, the ground was covered up. Your thoughts on the rain? I heard a lot of people saying that the rain came in, broke Rohit Sharma's momentum. Rohit Sharma was looking good. He was attacking Shaheen Afridi left and right. Just mind you, Rohit Sharma was dropped technically by Fakhar Zaman in the first over, fourth or fifth ball. So tough chance, but you gotta grab those. But at the same time, how ready was Rohit Sharma for Shaheen Afridi? If that's the fact that we're gonna go off of, I don't know. I came online right after the innings break on Instagram Live on Backward Points Instagram handle, and had a lot of people just saying India looked shaky. India weren't at their A game. India just weren't expecting this. And my whole question is why? India chooses not to play Pakistan for years. This was almost half a decade later that Pakistan is playing India in an ODI, right? And they've placed T20s in the middle. They know Shaheen Afridi is immensely destructive, and yet it just seemed like they were A, afraid of him, or B, were not ready for him. Shubman Gill was not ready for him. Kohli and Rohit looked afraid of him. What was your analysis on that whole situation, the rain situation, all of that? I would love to hear your thoughts on that because I don't think people know this. We have not talked about the game yet. So this is the first time we're going off of each other. So what was your opinion on the whole rain situation, the location situation, and then India's sort of planning for Pakistan's bowling?
Yeah, just a quick side note. We don't talk about the match when we're away from each other or even if we're watching it together. Like we discuss it a bit here and there, but we save our main discussions and thoughts for this podcast here. So like we haven't talked about the match yet. This is the first time talking about it. So firstly, to begin with the rain situation, I think there's two sides of the coin. As hard as might be for Rohit Sharma to come back from a rain delay and get his focus back in, it's as hard for a bowler like Shaheen or Haris to get his body warmed up and run back again through the wet outfields and the wet puddles that are within the ground and try to get his line and length and swing back right. So I think it's a distraction for both players. I think it's an evenly matched thing. I don't think that's just an excuse. Rohit Sharma, go look at his stats. He's played over 9,000 runs, many World Cups, too many achievements to even count here. And for Indian fans to sort of say that, oh no, he was, distracted by the rain delays, I think I call BS straight up. I think the other thing is I'm so sad that we weren't able to get a result of this match because I really believe that Pakistan was in a good position to essentially chase this down. Forget about the chase for a second. Even if you just look at the first 10 overs, Pakistan's bowling attack had India 66 for 4. Now, this is one of the best, one of the arguably the greatest, the mightiest batting order in history or whatnot. And you have to consider that they're against the Pakistan team. This is a Pakistan team. If you consider the resources, the money that the board has, the league that India has, the league that Pakistan has, the amount of money that their players make, the facilities that they have, the coaches that they have, just the level of access to fitness trainers, nutritionists, there's no match. Pakistan is no match to India. But again, today we saw Pakistan's grit, Pakistan's determination, the raw talent, the skill on display. And for Pakistan to still, despite having all the things that India does not have, to put up a performance like today, it just shows how good this team is, how ambitious these boys are. And this Pakistan team of the 2020s, it's different than what we've seen growing up in the 2010s. They don't take a game against India like a game against India. It's just a game against another team. And to break their back, to destroy their backbone with the meanings of destroying their batting order, I think there's lots of applause to be said. There's lots of things that India should self-reflect and see what Pakistan has done despite not being one of the top teams, not playing at home for many, many years, and to still put up a performance like this. I think it's commendable. I'm so proud of these boys. Under Babar Azam, they're going on to achieve incredible things, and I think this is just the start. With this respect of scheduling these games, again, Pakistan was not given the respect that it deserved. This Asia Cup was supposed to be hosted by Pakistan in Pakistan. India refused not to come here. And then when Pakistan suggested for UAE to be the next destination, they're like, oh no, we can't do UAE. It's going to be too hot. And they reflected back to Sri Lanka being the next place. And again, it's just brainless at this moment that it's monsoon season in Sri Lanka and you're scheduling a 50-hour match, India-Pakistan, which has a lot of money, a lot of broadcasting rights, a lot of ads pending. So for that to go all waste and for us fans to also get the disappointment, I felt like we were just on edge to get a result, to watch Pakistan chase us down. But then again, I think the rain saved India. I have no doubt that Pakistan would have gone on to chase us down. Despite being almost a reduced over match for Pakistan to chase, I think either way we were in a good position to chase this down because even this Pakistani batting lineup is different. Like they were going to chase this down. I have no doubts.
I genuinely think, now this is a theory that I have, but I genuinely believe in this. If I could take you on a little bit of a history lesson here, 2007-8 was when the IPL started. Pakistan played the first edition. Sohail Tanvir was the bowler of the tournament, if you remember
Purple cap.
correctly. Purple cap. And Shaheen Afridi played for the Deccan Chargers. Just wanted to remember that as well, because that was my favorite team in the IPL when I used to follow them. And then 2008 happens. A series of terrorist attacks happen in India, and the political situation between the two countries changes. 2008 was also the last time that India came for any sort of tour to Pakistan. It's been 15 years. I think they came for the Asia Cup.
They did.
And so since 2008, there has been issues between Pakistan and India where they don't really cooperate in bilateral series. They don't really meet. Apart from that one instance in 2012/13, that was the last series that Pakistan has had with India in a bilateral series. Now, in the beginning, India soft banned. They didn't take any names, but they soft banned Pakistani players from the IPL. So no Pakistani players went to the IPL after the first edition. That's monetary loss. That's fitness loss. That's exposure loss for the Pakistani players. And I kid you not, that hit with the 2009 spot fixing scandal deteriorated Pakistani cricket. If
And
you're
also
a fan
with the attack on the Sri Lankan team, we lost home cricket.
Yes. So these three things back to back to back. If you're a fan of that era, you know what I'm talking about. It completely dismantled Pakistan cricket, right? So that's why I have so much respect for my Yunus Khans, my Shahid Afridis, Misbah ul Haqs, my Shoaib Maliks. They sort of built it back up. So I have respect for that. Whatever, regardless of what those teams did, you have to stand behind those players. They had a very uphill task ahead of them. Anyway, so the first 5-6 years, we're sort of in shambles. We don't have a team. We don't have a bowler. Wahab Riaz is a strike bowler. Junaid Khan is in. Junaid Khan is out. Nasir Jamshed is in, out. Ahmed Shahzad era, like we all know it. Omi 96 era, we know that as well. Just horribleness everywhere. And then something happens in 2017, man. Because there's fear for almost half a decade that India is going to thwart us. And they did. They thwarted us. Every time they met us, it's sometimes Rohit Sharma hitting us for 140 or Kohli hitting us for 186. Like, it's complete deterioration of our batting, right? We're playing in Asia Cup. We're 82 all out, right? We even have Mohammad Amir who's coming back, can't do anything, even though he bowls one of the most spectacular spells in T20 bowling in vain. That's fine. But something happens in 2017, man. I'm telling you, under Saifi's captaincy, these boys start lighting up, right? They're pushed against the wall. It's the corners of tiger mindset. They take their disadvantages and build upon them. And by the grace of God, we get a Babar Azam, right? Under Saifi, who starts sort of grooming himself, and he picks these players. He wants these players. He gets criticized for having favorites. He gets criticized for having quote unquote purchase. He gets criticized for being Mickey Arthur's little golden duck. And he takes all this to the chest. And so he starts building 2017, 2018, 2019. We see glimpses. 2019 World Cup century against New Zealand. Build up. We lost that match against India in that World Cup as well, by the way. Rohit Sharma was just a maniac in that match, but build up. And since the past 4 years, after, like, it reminds me of Andy Dufresne at the end of Shawshank Redemption. This man crawled through a mile of shit to get out of the other side to be clean. And now we're at the other side where the mighty Indians, everything has backfired. They don't play us in the IPLs. They don't play us in ODI cricket. They don't play us in T20 crickets, apart from events. They don't know our bowlers. Stark is one of the most lethal bowlers in the world, but he's neutralized because he plays the IPL. He's neutralized because India tours Australia, then Australia tours India. Like, it almost feels like every 6 months they're at each other's tours. It's almost neutralized. Shaheen Afridi has not been neutralized yet because they haven't found out what to do with him because they never play him except for big tournaments. And there's big tournament pressures. Like, today was a dead rubber game, if we're going to be honest, between each other. This game meant nothing. If Pakistan won, that's great. Moral victory. If Pakistan lost, whatever. If India won, whatever. Like, it doesn't really do anything. Both of these teams are going to make it to the Super 4, right? Like last time when they played the Asia T20 World Cup, the Asia Cup T20, India won the first game, didn't really mean anything. And Pakistan won the second one, which eventually kicked India out of the Asia Cup. Point being, they just don't know how to deal with Pakistan's pace attack because they don't see it as often as much. And this is all because of their soft bans. This is all because of they wanted to isolate Pakistan in the world of cricket. They wanted to make sure that Pakistan stands alone. And it did for a very long time. But guess what? We're back, baby. We're back.
We're the corner tigers.
We're the corner tigers.
If you corner us, the only option we'll have is to attack.
Attack back, and that's what we've been doing. And I just hope and pray that the Babar boys do not get complacent. They have a very uphill task. Asia Cup is just like the first step. They have to go in India and beat India and win that World Cup. Nothing less than that will matter to us.
Yeah, I think I was going to come to the point where you mentioned the fact that because Pakistani players are not in the IPL, Rohit Sharma or for Indian batters, they don't play Pakistani bowlers. And that's why you could clearly see they weren't picking Naseem. They didn't know he had an in-swinger. They didn't know he had a really good outswinger. Everybody in the world knows Shaheen's going to bring the ball back in, but they don't know what to do with it. Right? Yeah. So if you play him often enough, maybe there is a way to neutralize him. But again, it's because of their own faults, their own because of their own deeds that they're here in the situation. And I just wanted to mention that this is not the first time a left arm pace bowler has dismantled Indians' batting order. 2015 World Cup semifinal, Mitchell Johnson dismantles India's batting. 2016 Asia Cup, Mohammad Amir does it. 2017 Champions Trophy final, Mohammad Amir does it again. 2019 World Cup semifinal, it's Trent Bolt does it. 2021 Shaheen Afridi dismantles India's batting, and again this match we saw Shaheen dismantle India's batting lineup. Just a couple of quick facts. Today was the first time ever that Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli were bowled in the same innings by the same bowler. Today was the first time in 11 years where India's top three were bowled. Mind you, the last time was 2012 when Junaid Khan ripped through India's batting lineup in India. So just respects to everybody who's ever contributed. Junaid Khan was so underrated. We would love to have him on the podcast again. But just that spell. And then I also felt like Naseem was super unlucky in the beginning. Like he was bowling so well, but not getting any wickets. So I loved when he came back and got 3 wickets. Like he deserved those wickets. Some might even argue that Naseem might have been the better bowler today, despite being unlucky. I also loved how much pace and aggression that Haris Rauf had. I just wished he was a bit more controlled aggression. Like I think he was trying way too much in the beginning. And then just Pakistan's trio was amazing. They took all 10 wickets in, I believe, 27.5 overs. So their Pakistan's pace trio was 129 for 10. And then the partnership that they had between Ishan Kishan and Hardik Pandya was mainly against our spinners, which I think were neutralized pretty easily, which is a point of concern. I also felt one more thing, that because of how the surface was today, like it was swinging, the ball had variable bounce. If we had a fourth seamer, if we had, like we mentioned, a fast bowling all-rounder who can bat well, who can field well. If you're new to the podcast, we've done a whole ass episode on Pakistan's search for the next Abdul Razak, the next fast bowling all-rounder. We do have Fahim Ashraf in the side. We do have Wasim Jr. If we have a player like them in the side, I don't know, maybe you can sit out an Agha Salman or Mohammad Nawaz, or just somebody to have that fourth seamer option. Because if you look at India's team, they had so many options. Like they're ready for everything. Like they have 4 seamers. Hardik Pandya can bowl. He's almost like the Ben Stokes for India. Pakistan has that missing link. They're a good team, but if you're looking for more efficiency, more improvement, there's still that room for a player like a Fahim Ashraf, Wasim Jr., even an Amr Jamal, Amr Yamin, maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying, to step up and play that role of a fast bowling all-rounder that we desperately need. Like it would just elevate Pakistan's team to a different level.
I think this is a good way to segue into a few different other things that I really quickly want to talk about. Right before I do that, what's your battery looking like on your laptop?
I'm good, 15%.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah, lots of time. So one thing I wanted to segue into was because we've sort of our emotions got the better of us for 25 minutes. We just raved about how amazing Shaheen's spell was, how amazing Pakistan's bowling was, which is all facts, and how beautiful it was to see them sort of dismantle the great. It was almost David and Goliath-esque. Like, it was just great to see them come out of the other side victorious. But there are glaring mistakes in the Pakistani side that we should address. Number one, fielding was abysmal. I have never seen Pakistan be this sloppy. I've played for Wolves United, which is Cheyenne Place cricket team. They feel better than that, bro. Zuhair Bhai is at least 45. Like, what are we doing? Right? This was abysmal. Shaheen Afridi, as many praises as he gets, he was very sloppy in the fielding today. Naseem Shah as well. Wasim Jr. comes off the bench and gives a freebie and then smiles after that. Shadab was shocking, like just what was happening to him with the ball and on the field, except for that one good catch. I'll take that aside. But apart from that, was just very undercooked fielding performance by Pakistan. Why do you think that was? Like, what were they underprepared? What was going on there?
If you ask me, I think it's travel fatigue. I think the boys are sore. They're tired. They might not have been rested as properly. And so when you're low on energy, when you're low on sleep, you don't have the same intensity on field. So you're not really that keen on throwing your body around or putting the same efforts. I saw some of the fielding moments and I was like, what is going on? Like Pakistan was a better fielding unit the last game. And for them
Yeah.
to sort of not be up to par was a bit shocking. I think this is definitely an area for Pakistan to improve on. I don't know how they'll do it in a few days, but they'll just have to because they're traveling back to Lahore
Because there's more.
for
Yeah,
another
they're
game.
going back to Lahore. Yeah, they're going back
Yeah,
to Lahore literally like tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, and they're going to be there.
but I
For
think
6 hour
after
flight
that, it's
again.
all the games are in Colombo. So I'm hoping the weather there is better, and everybody's going to be Colombo after that. So it'll be no more traveling. It'll just be like them staying at the hotel, going to the ground.
Man, it's just still so annoying the way that they've set this up. It's like we are the hosts and we are the ones that are having the most trouble playing these games. It's almost like when in our culture in Pakistan or I guess in subcontinent when you have those guests that you didn't invite and they just randomly show up at like 1 a.m. in the night. That's what it feels like. Yeah, we're the host. We're supposed to be all like quote unquote mehman nawaz and all that, hospitable, but it's annoying, and that's what it feels like to us right now. Travel fatigue and all that. I get that, but still, like some of this stuff was very relegate regulation. Yeah, it was very regulation stuff that they
Regulation. Yeah.
were feeling. Like, yeah, there were just boundaries that anybody would have stopped. Like Naseem Shah was really sloppy in the field. Um, I just wanted to give you a stat. The top two run scorers for India were for Ishan Kishan for 82 and then Hardik Pandya for 87. And then the third most runs scored on that Indian scorecard is extras that we gave that were 20. 15 wides, one no ball. That's what I'm looking at. 16 runs right there. And then I think Bumrah was the third or fourth most run scorer. So 15 runs we gave in extras, 15 wides, one no ball, 16 there. And then we gave at least 15 to 20 runs off the field. So we gave easy 40 to 45 runs just by technicality. If you take those 40 runs off, the 266 goes down to 226. Whole different ball game according to Vakar, right? What do you think about that? Like, what's going on there? Like, we can't afford these extras. Down the leg side wides for fours, over the head wides. Like Naseem Shah in the early spells was really great, really economical as well. But he was trying too hard sometimes. I felt like he was going really wayward.
Yeah, I think it was just a matter of them getting too excited. Like I think I was just talking to my friend about this as well. Like Pakistani bowlers, even though they were amazing today, but I just felt like they were a bit off radar. Like Shaheen Afridi, when he's looking to swing the ball back and off a length, it typically before pre-injury, it would hit middle stump. It would hit the pads. But today I saw many of his balls went down the leg side. I feel so bad for Rizwan, man. His fingers should be hurting so much. It's not easy to keep against Naseem because his ball swings in the air, it nips back off the wicket. It also wobbles once it's past the batsman, which is the hardest thing to sort of judge, if I want to say. And then if you have a bowler like Haris Rauf as well, who bowls really quick. So it's just hard. I think they need to get like relax a bit, just have a game plan as to like what's my plan A, B, C if I do this. If the batsman retaliates, do I want to be more full or do I want to go back of a length? But just don't try too many things. I know Naseem Shah can swing the ball both ways at pace, but I think he needs to figure out what his stock ball is. Like if it's like Shaheen's stock ball is the in swinger, then he has the one that goes across the angle, which is his variation, if you want to call it. Naseem needs to sort of control his excitement and sort of ball three or four good outswingers and then go for the one in swinger. Like I think he's trying too much right now. Also, one more important thing that I noticed today, speaking of Pakistan's fielding, is that Shaheen Afridi is your main bowler. He's your gun bowler. He's your prime bowler. He is just coming back from an injury. It's been a few months. He's recovered. But again, I noticed he was fielding on long off. He was diving, throwing his body around. You don't want your prime pace bowler, regardless of how good of a fielder he is, to be fielding in these hotspots. You cannot afford at any cost for Shaheen to have any chance of injury. Like I saw that and I was immediately furious. Like we need to take Shaheen off the boundary, hide him at fine leg, put him at like deep third man. Just don't put him on boundaries. Like I just
Yeah, and he
we
even
can't afford it.
even when he's fielding, he wants to run in, dive on his one leg, and like try to stop the ball. Is one of the reasons that the ball just slipped through once, and the second time the ball went there. He sort of stopped it. He also, our coaches used to tell us that if you're having a so-so day on the field, the ball will find a way to find you, and that's what sort of was happening to Shaheen today. Like the ball was every time there'd be a cut shot, it would be straight to Shaheen. Every time there'd be a lofted shot, somehow Shaheen was there again. So it seemed like one of those days where just Shaheen was just like radared. So yeah, but I also agree he should be inside the 30-yard circle. I don't care. Like if he's a gun fielder, he can aim at the stumps. Like there's always a chance for runouts in the 30-yard circle. But yeah, it was scary to see that. The last thing that I wanted to talk about regarding Pakistan's not so good performance were the spin aspect. So now there's a lot of debate because, like I said, I came online right after the first innings went. There was a lot of emotions on Instagram Live. People had a lot of thoughts. And one of the things that kept coming up was Babar's captaincy. Now, if you have India who's 66 for 4 and you let them score 266, you let them score 200 more runs, that's on you. And that says a lot about the way that Babar was sort of conducting his innings. He did bring back Shaheen for a couple of overs in the middle, like we thought he would, but that just seemed like a little bit too late. The consensus that I saw online and with the people that I was talking to was when you were 66 for 4, maybe don't bring in Shadab. Or if you're bringing in Shadab and you're seeing he's going for runs, stop, bring back Haris, bring back Naseem. Like you want to end the game there. You don't want them to score more than 150. And to let them score 266 sort of took the game away. They came back strong at the end, but that little middle portion was tough to watch as a Pakistani fan. What would you do differently if you're Babar Azam? Because you sort of have limited options. He did go for it, the third spinner. He went for Agha Salman. Didn't really work either. What would you have done differently? How do you sort of divide that stuff?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I want to mention is Shaheen is a great new ball bowler, but he really needs to improve on his middle overs and death over bowling. Today he was really good in the death. He got 2 more wickets, got Pandya out, and got 1 more wicket of Jadeja. So the middle overs bowling is an area of improvement for Shaheen. Secondly, I feel like our spinners are good, but just today, especially Shadab looked really off color, like he was bowling too full. He bowled 2 full tosses to Ishan Kishan, who hit him for 2 straight boundaries. He bowled short balls. It was just all over the place. And typically, Shadab is your bowler who takes wickets in the middle overs, but because he wasn't at his best, him and Nawaz just went for easy singles and doubles. The Indian players, Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya, they play for the same IPL team, Mumbai Indians, so they know each other very well. They were just rotating strike, hitting the bat ball away for a boundary. And because Shadab was having such a bad day, I immediately assumed that Babar is going to bring on Salman Ali Agha, get a few overs out of him. Salman's first ball was a no ball. You cannot afford that in an India-Pakistan match. That could have been the moment that the momentum shifted towards to India. Luckily, it did not. But yeah, I just think there's nothing to be done. Like, I think captaincy is fine. Like, you're only as good of a captain as how your team performs. Like today, if Shadab had taken 3 wickets, it would have been, oh, great captaincy by Babar. Shadab comes in middle overs, takes 3 wickets. So,
but my beef is Shadab. He went for 56 and 8, right? And it's the last 10 overs, and you bring him back for the 42nd.
I think that was a miscalculation from his end because a lot of our pacers, like I think if I just look back at the scorecard, Haris Rauf balls 9 overs. Exactly. Naseem has 1 over left. So exactly. That is definitely a miscalculation from Babar Azam's end. Again, you cannot afford that in big matches. Like you mentioned, this was sort of a dead rubber, even though Indian Pakistan matches are not dead rubbers. There's a lot at stake, a lot of like pride, a lot of bragging rights at stake. But again, just from a tournament standpoint, there's not much at stake. I still believe that Babar can take a lot of positives and also room for improvement for the next match. That's going to be next Sunday against India. I think the Indian team is going to be under a lot of pressure. they were underestimating Pakistan's ability to chase the score, and trust me, if rain did not happen, this would have been a chase from Pakistan, and the Indian team would have been, you could say, 1-0 down in this Asia Cup Pakistan India series.
Mm.
So next Sunday is going to be tough. It's going to be in Colombo. Colombo is Babar Azam's home ground in the LPL, so he knows the conditions very well. He's going to plan accordingly. I want to see if they make any changes. Like, do you maybe bring in a forward seamer to see how the combination is going to look? Our next match is going to be in Lahore. It probably might be against one of the teams from the other groups. It could be Sri Lanka, could be Afghanistan, or Bangladesh, depending on who qualifies. But yeah, I think it's exciting times ahead. We shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves. Today's performance was very good. It was exciting. But again, let's stay calm. There's a long road ahead. There's round 2 of the Asia Cup. There's the final, and there's the World Cup. So, let's appreciate the performance today. But again, let's stay focused, on track, and just a long way to go in this tournament to go.
Yeah, I think you're right about the miscalculation about Babar not being able to do that, because he bowled out 9 from Naseem and he had 1 left from Haris, who would have bowled the last over. So he would have done 10 for Haris, 10 for Shaheen, and 9 for Naseem. So I think there was a little bit of miscalculation there for sure. I mean, lots of positives for Pakistan to take from this series, from this game, I should say. Definitely, they're good. They haven't been beaten in the past 5 ODIs. That's also a good stat to have going for momentum. The next game for Pakistan is on Sunday, so they don't have a game from here to Sunday. Do they have a game?
I think they have one in the middle.
A1.
They do. They do. I think they have a game.
What day is that?
Maybe on Wednesday. I gotta double check this. I'm not too sure, but they do have a game in the middle, I believe. Because next Sunday is India Pakistan, and then that's the Sunday after that is the final of the Asia Cup. So they have to, because in Pakistan has to play, I believe, they got to play 3 matches in this Super 4 stage. That's going to happen. So yeah, I think I'll need to just double check the schedule.
Yeah, so it's probably India. So yeah, if they're flying back to Lahore literally tomorrow or maybe today, then yeah, they're probably playing sometime in the middle of the week, and then the Sunday match is the India Pakistan match. Whoever they play, I think they should be there should be a comfortable win, and they should see it through. And if they just keep carrying the momentum up until Sunday, I think Sunday will also be a similar result. Man, I would have loved to see Pakistan chase this for 266. And my theory was that Pakistan would have probably chased this with 6 down at the 48th, 49th over. It would have been a comfortable win. No brainer about that. We would have seen a good 50 or maybe a century from the top 3. Maybe Fakhar Zaman would have clicked today.
What if it was a T20, like we were discussing last podcast? Like if it was a reduced over, I just thought it was like okay for Babar to announce a team before, but if you know it's going to be reduced overs, like you may see the opportunity to play Mohammad Haris or Fahim Ashraf, right? So if
that's
it was
what I'm saying,
over match chasing, do you think Pakistan would have made any changes? Like, do you think Babar and Rizwan would have opened? Like they would go T20 format?
Good question. I actually was talking.
Would have just.
I was talking to Shan about this hashtag Shan plays cricket, and he said that they should have gone for the playing 11 that they had. Like if they had Imam and Fakhar opening, let's go with that combination. Don't mess with it at this point of the game, even if you're chasing 150 and 20. So I think I would stick with that too. Like you don't want to shuffle, because if you put Babar and Fakhar open, or Babar is one open, and then you go 1 down Fakhar, then suddenly Imam is 2nd down. That's too late for him. Then he takes his time to play. So like it would have been awkward. But yeah, it was a good performance all around. I would have loved to see a second innings, but it just wasn't the way. And I think we've discussed in length why it wasn't. And I think both of our opinion is the same about what would have happened if there was a second innings. Where I think we both think that Pakistan would have chased this down. Correct?
I agree. Yep. It would have taken like a magical spell from one of India's bowlers, and I think like Bumrah's coming back from injury. Shardul Thakur is a medium pacer. Siraj, what can he do just on his own? Jadeja is more like a stock bowler. Kuldeep would have been maybe a threat in the middle. But I believe if Fakhar would have stayed there, he can be that batsman who can take Kuldeep Yadav on. So again, just a lot of ifs and buts. You never know. It's a funny game of cricket. But I just think I have confidence in these guys that they would have chased us down.
Yeah. Man, thank you very much for showing up during your vacation time in Chicago. Hopefully the next time we go back live on a podcast, you will be here. and we'll discuss this in person for sure. Any finishing thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, I'm looking forward to being back and then doing the next podcast. Actually, watching the match. We haven't watched a match like an India Pakistan match in a long time.
Yeah.
So I think I missed not watching this match with you. I was like, yo, I wish I was with you watching this match. So hoping the next time that the India Pakistan match happens, we'll be in the same room.
Yes.
Just screaming our lungs out at moments that sort of give us new hope in life.
Yeah, 100%. And thank you everybody else who was watching this sort of makeshift backward point pod today. I know it was a really important game. People really wanted to hear our opinions on it. That's why we showed up. We showed up for the fans. If you guys are listening to us on the audios, don't forget to leave a review on Spotify, Apple Music. It really helps us, and we're actually in the top 20 sports podcasts in Canada. So it's great. Like, keep listening, keep liking, keep reviewing. That really helps. If you're watching us on YouTube, then like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about it. There's also a thanks button that you're going to see on the browsers and on your mobile apps. That's just, gives us sort of like a quote unquote tip, helps us sort of fund this podcast. There's a lot of money that goes in, not enough comes out. So we would love any sort of appreciation, comments, and all of that. So feedback is also good appreciation. We take that as well. So if you guys have any thoughts about the game, put it in the comment section below. Bashar's on vacation, but I'm on. I will reply to each and one of you. Be respectful, be kind. This is at the end of the game. At the end of the day, just a game, and we're here to appreciate both sides. We have, we didn't even talk about how amazing it looked like at the end of the game. And like the whole Pakistani team is so crowded Virat Kohli because everybody's a fan, right? They all want to speak to him. They all want to talk to him. It was beautiful to see just the relationship between the players themselves. That's how I hope the fans turn into just polite. You show your aggression on the pitch, but then you leave it in the ground. So just a long-winded way of saying thank you guys for listening to us. We'll see you guys in the next episode. This is Nader Sayed signing out, and Bashar from Chicago also signing out. And we'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye.